Hi there, good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Financial Fridayz, your educational forum from your VM group. As usual, we give you lots of knowledge and tips on how to get you and keep you on the road to financial wellness. This episode is no different, and I tell you, you're absolutely going to love this one. We're just giving you a lot of gems today. I am Allison Morgan, Deputy CEO for VM Property Services, and today your VMPS team, that is the real estate arm of the VM Group, we are going to take you through a journey of enlightenment on how to help you to get, keep, and acquire even more real estate. We're going to introduce the members of the panel today on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. So let me share a little bit about myself, and then I will share with the other members of the panel. As I said earlier, I'm Allison Morgan, Deputy CEO for VM Property Services. I have been with the VM Group in various roles for over 21 years. I know you can't tell, that's okay, right? So I have stayed with this company because I absolutely believe in what it is we're doing in our mandate of transforming lives for Jamaicans and at home and in the diaspora. We are a 100% homegrown Jamaican company, and we're proud of our roots and proud of where we are going to help Jamaicans to achieve their goals, whatever that may be. Throughout my 21 years tenure at VM, I have had the wonderful opportunity to interact with customers just like you, who we met through various forums, through my different roles, being loans officers, credit officers, branch managers, head of sales, property management. The point is, you are here today to learn and grow and get advice from experienced professionals. But enough about me. The real experts are sitting to my left and my right. Let us start with this lovely lady on my immediate left, Miss Elaine Roache. Elaine,
Hi.
tell us about you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am Elaine Roache, Business Development Officer presently for PropMan, which is a new product that we have launched. I have also been a real estate agent for over 12 years. I may be young, but I believe I have achieved a lot. I believe I've learned a lot. And I think the whole journey has been phenomenal. My purpose and what I really enjoy is providing solutions to our clients, to just to see that finishing touch when they say, thank God they have received a new property. Yes, they are home.
I love it.
And it brings real joy.
Thank you, Elaine. And you can see the joy. It is absolutely showing on our face. We love our clients. We love our members.
We do.
And this ball of sunshine to my right is none other than Kathleen O'Sullivan. Kathleen, tell our audience a little bit about you and why it is you do what you do.
Hi, I am Kathleen O'Sullivan and I'm a realtor. I have been a realtor for about 30 years, so I'm still young and I'm still learning. I love this business because I started, as I told you, over 30 years now when I bought my first house, and it was because of a realtor that introduced me, and I never looked back. I like pleasing people. I like to see the smile on my clients' faces when they get the keys to their first home. It's the biggest investment anyone can do.
Yes.
And for me to be a part of that, it is a great joy, a pleasure just to serve these persons. I won't stop. I will be here until I can't go anymore because I just love this.
Yes.
Amazing. And what makes it even better is that we love what we're doing and we're doing it for a company that is authentic and honest and committed to the purpose of transforming lives. Thank you, ladies. Right. So today the journey is going to be about getting real estate. It's a little daunting sometimes because a lot of persons are not understanding of the steps that you need to take to move from wanting the property to actually getting the keys in your hands. So what we've done today, we have outlined a series of steps and we're going to take you through that to explain generally how the process works for real estate. So let's start. First step, pre-qualification. At this stage, what we're saying is that if it is you will be utilizing mortgage financing naturally from VMBS, right? Victoria Metro Building Society, then you need to get pre-qualified. Now, you know, ladies, there are times when we would say to customers when they're looking properties, the last thing you do, and yes, you're hearing this from realtors, the last thing you do when you're looking a house or a property to buy is to actually look for the property. Yes, I said it.
Yes.
The last thing you do is to search for the property. And then we hear, Allison, are you crazy? How can you ask me to do that last? Isn't that the first thing I should be doing? Shouldn't we be getting up and getting the paper at 12 o'clock or setting up alerts on the websites and notification? No, you shouldn't. So we have a few things that you do before. So the pre-qualification exercise, I beg your pardon, is what you should do first. If it is, you'll be utilizing mortgage financing, which, to be honest, the average person really requires assistance from a financial institution. And each time I say financial institution, you can just insert VMBS right there, okay? Right. So we would have had previous episodes of Financial Fridayz where we had our sister company, VMBS, on, and they would have spoken about that. So we're not going to get into details. You can actually go back and look at past episodes on our various channels. So pre-qualification exercise, we're encouraging you to go speak with someone from VMBS, let them walk you through the process of what it is you need to do, how do you need to get yourself prepared, fix your credit, everything related to that. So that's the first step, get pre-qualified. The second step, contact your VM Realtor and discuss your property needs. Your VM Realtor. Your VM Realtor. And we have many others, and you can view all our agents on our website at vmpropertyservices.com. So Kathleen, when someone contacts you and say, hey, I'm interested in a property, I want to buy my house, what are some of the things that you'll discuss with them?
Okay, I discuss the location. What are you really looking for? Is it a house? What's the size of your family? You know, do you want a single-story house, a two-story house? But firstly, your budget. That's the most important thing.
Yes.
So, and most of them come not knowing that. So we go right back to that stage where we get them pre-qualified.
Okay.
How do I get pre-qualified? So we go through the steps, tell them exactly what to do. And I actually get all the documents together, and then I pass it on to the loans officer.
Oh my goodness.
So I don't just allow them to go to anybody. I make sure that Victoria Mutual Building Society gets what they should get, and nobody else gets that.
And so the truth is, it is more about the client getting what they should get, because whilst we can't speak for any other institution, we know the depth of details and understanding that goes into a pre-qualification coming from a VM Building Society branch. So we want to make that easy for you. So as Kathleen said, you call your realtor, we talk about some things that you might not, considered previously, because the truth is, we know when you're seeking property, you're all gung-ho and you're looking at things through rose-colored glasses. And we want to make sure that you do not have buyer's remorse. Unlike a fabulous pair of shoes, you can't just take it back tomorrow if you think that you don't like it. You would have expended, in most instances, funds that you have been saving for quite a while to cover the deposit and the closing costs with this. So we try to minimize the regrets and the remorse. We want to make sure you're happy. So we ask you questions, where you're looking for, like what Kathleen says. Consider traffic. Do you want to pay toll? Do you need a backyard? Do you need it to be a gated community? Do you want to feel secure? Do you need a garden area? What are some of the things that you'll ask them? Exactly, where your children goes to school. Where do you work? What are some of the other things, Elaine?
I want to just go back to the pre-qualification, because that is such an important factor.
Agreed.
Because what happened most times, as Allison highlighted before, persons start at the end and come back to the front. They always say, but I want a house. And I said, are you aware of the value or how much you qualify for? And they're like, no, I'm not too sure. Where will you be financed? Who will be financing your mortgage? I never thought about that. So how can you look for a property that you have no idea how much you can finance? And they're like, that makes sense.
Yes.
It does.
They never thought about that.
They never thought about it.
And
simple, but they just
and
never
that is
thought
why
about
we
it.
need the expert to kind of guide you and temper your ideals and what you're going for. So we just want to make sure that you are realistic and you would have assessed your situation. And I tell you, everybody's situation is absolutely different. So oftentimes, we've heard so many things. Well, my neighbor's friend, cousin got a property and he was able to get X, and I should be able to get that, because you're just looking at surface level things. But there's a deeper dive. There's credit score. How much is he putting on for financing? Their age. Because the age will determine the tenure of the loan and how much you can pay back. So speak with your realtor, steps 1 and 2. We can't emphasize how important these 2 steps are, so we want you to really focus on that, right? Step 3, your VM Realtor will then compile a list of properties. So we've cleared the hurdles. You've gotten pre-qualified. We know that you have the deposit. You have the funds to cover your closing costs. We will now do a list of properties and schedule viewings based on the recommendations that we have for you. Here's why we emphasize step 1 so much. The real estate market in Jamaica is super, super competitive. And if you want to give yourself a distinct advantage, what you need to do is to ensure that you have documents on hand, recent documents, that will allow you to get an opportunity for the viewing. Again, oftentimes we've heard the conversations from persons. I want to go look at this property. Please schedule a viewing. What they don't understand is that most vendors will not allow you to come and look at the property until they're sure that you can actually afford the property that they're selling. So if you really want to get on that short list to make sure that you can go and view what you think is your dream house or your dream piece of land or whatever it is, you need to get pre-qualified and have proof of funds in an accessible account so that we can move. And you know, we probably need to talk about that in another episode because we want to tell you that, you know, if you're ready to move, then you need to have cash that is now liquid and easily convertible, easily accessible.
Under your bed.
Yes, definitely not under your bed.
And not in bonds.
And not in wealth. But no, when you're ready to go and you're pre-qualified and you're like, yes, we are ready, then you would now convert these, put it in something more liquid, a savings account or a CD at VMBS. So you see, we're keeping this in the group. Listen, you don't need to go anywhere else. This is your one-stop shop right here.
Yes.
So you have your funds ready, so you can get on the short list, so you can actually do the viewings, and your trusted realtors will arrange this for you. Right, so step 4, moving right along. After finding the property now, so Kathleen would have taken you and she would have shown you everything, and you are just, oh my God, this is it, I found it, I'm happy, Kathleen, let's go. What do we do next? Your agent will then prepare the documents to submit an offer for you. At this stage, we have to make sure we comply with the regulatory guidelines, just like any other transaction that you're doing with a financial institution or that would involve any government entity. Then we have some element of KYC. KYC is know your customer. And if you've opened or maintained a bank account at any financial institution recently, you understand why we need to do this. So we would complete the KYC documents. Yes, there are KYC documents in real estate. Yes. Any kind of transaction, there are KYC documents. So we complete your KYC documentation. We would get your IDs. We get all the other information, your proof of address, everything related to making an offer. Kathleen or Elaine or myself or any other agents will prepare your documents, send them to you for signing, and then we would submit it to the persons who are selling on your behalf. Right. Yes. And then if your offer is accepted, and you know, this is where you're putting the prior. Yeah, man. You get your prior words, and you cross your fingers and you cross your toes because this is it. Right? Yeah. So, and then you get the call. And Elaine is going to call you and say, guess what?
Congratulations.
Congratulations, your offer was accepted.
But that's just a start.
And repeat for me.
That's just the start.
That is just the start. See, you know, when we say to you that, you know, to purchase real estate takes a minimum of 3 months, 90 days. The truth is the 90 days doesn't even start here.
No.
It doesn't, right?
It doesn't. No.
Where does the 90 days start, Kathleen?
After it is signed by both vendor and purchaser.
Yes.
After the sale agreement is signed, which takes us to our next step, right? So after you sign the documents and it's accepted, the vendor's attorney, and this is the attorney that we refer to in real estate transaction as the one having carriage of sale. Because he's, or she, women's lib, is carrying the sale through end to end. So the vendor's attorney is the person that will prepare the draft sale agreement and will send that to your attorney, you're the purchaser, and they will communicate over a period of days. Most it might go to probably about 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I mean, we're so in sync because we know this. So about 2 weeks back and forth. And why is this stage important? I just want to pause here for a minute, you know, because we always hear, so do I have to get an attorney? Do I have to pay them? Elaine, tell them why they need an attorney.
It's important because that attorney has to take you through your process and ensure that your sale agreement is on par, that you are getting value for what you're asking for, and you also want to ensure that whatever agreement you're signing to is legitimate.
And protecting
and
you.
Protecting
and your terms are,
exactly, and the terms and conditions are on par.
Exactly.
Very important.
Listen, we've seen throughout our history, because right here we probably have about 70 years experience together combined. We have seen people try to sell dead people's property. We've seen people try to sell a cemetery, a church, sell a house that they rent. So, I mean, we could continue forever. The point is, it is highly, highly recommended that you get an attorney to represent you when you're making real estate purchases. And this is why we say to you, when you're saving, have the discussion with your VMBS representative, your financial services specialist, so they can guide you on what these charges will be, what the costs will be. So to pay the attorney would have already been captured in your closing costs that you were saving for. So once the agreement is prepared, it's sent off, everybody signed. The agreement would then be reviewed and signed by yourself, so your attorney will call you and say, hey, we finalized the draft sale agreement. Can you come by, Mary Jane? Come to my office at 12 o'clock on Monday and listen, all weekend you cannot sleep. You cannot sleep, right? And then they're going to say, come and sign the deposit that you had agreed to. Remember, you would have discussed your deposit with your realtor, and that would have been on your offer form. In most instances, it's like 5% or 10%. Some persons, previously, it was 10%. However, when the government changed a lot of the regulations regarding how much the vendors would need to pay for transfer tax, and we had that reduced, you saw the benefit coming back to the purchaser, because no longer were most vendors asking for 10% to cover the initial cost that they would have to put up front. They say, okay, we can drop it to 5% now. So that benefits you, the purchaser. So you would need to come with your 5% to your attorney. In most instances, they'd recommend that you send it to them electronically. You know, so that is why we say have the funds readily available, right, Elaine?
Right, correct. And also to add to that, the 5% also allowed more persons to be able to purchase their properties, because a lot of persons really did not have the 10% or 15%, but they could afford the 5%.
Awesome. So in other words, perfect time to get
perfect
married. What you waiting for? All right.
And it also helps the vendor, because you're paying less. The cost has gone down for them drastically to sell. So it's a win-win situation.
It is.
All around. So you win because you pay less, you win because you come to VMPS, you win even more because you go to VMPS. It's just like you're getting the lottery here. Right. So the agreement is signed by yourself and you'll send over the funds, right? The purchaser then would get documents from their attorney that the vendor's attorney now would send over. So after the signing, you, the purchaser, would have signed. Your attorney would send it to the vendor. And then what would happen is that the vendor will sign and send it back. Now, this is a very important stage, because at this stage, the vendor's attorney would now have initiated an official contract. Once the vendor and purchaser have signed that document, it is a sealed agreement and it is a contract and it's legally binding, which is why it was so important for your attorney, you the purchaser, to review all the terms and conditions. One of the things that, you know, is extremely important at this stage, and we would always say to our clients, make sure that you, with pro haste, get a valuation done on the property now and get a surveyor's report done on the property. You want to make sure that there's no breaches. And I tell you something, in most sale agreements, you only have a window of 7 days in which you need to say, yes, there's a breach on the property and we need to fix that. And I promise you, we're going to come back with another episode to speak about that, and we'll take along a chartered surveyor's reporter so we can, you know, give you some more information on that. So the vendor's attorney will prepare your package. In that package that they're going to send to your attorney will be signed sale agreement, information relating to the property, such as the proof of payment of the property taxes, because the government will not allow a transfer where property taxes are outstanding, because we have to pay the piper, right? Information on the water, because NWC also will not allow the transfer.
Except for that.
Right, if there is a water supply there. And if you're buying into a strata, which is a hot property right now. In real estate world, strata refers to any building structure that shares common areas, share a wall and is more than two or more stories. Simply for you, layman, strata, apartment. And if you live in Kingston or Montego Bay or, you know, any other hot area, St. Anne, Mandeville, you see these popping up a dime a dozen. Why? because they're not building land anymore. So we don't have any more land space, but what do we have? Airspace.
Right.
So we're going up, right?
Capitalizing on that.
Stratas are abounding so much. So we're actually going to speak a little bit about that because we do get quite a few queries about buying into stratas. So documents relating to the strata and anything else that you would actually need to submit it to VM Building Society so you can get your mortgage process. So you would get all of these and then you're going to submit them off. When you're making the submission, along with the documents for the actual property, you again will need to submit updated documents that you might have given some earlier to facilitate your pre-qualification process. So current pay slips, job letters. If you're self-employed, then your up-to-date financial statements, information on all the purchasers. If you're using joint financing from the NHE, then you'd need to get documents for that as well. And your VM agent will guide you on all of that. It usually takes about 2 weeks once all the documents are submitted on time, yes.
And we should let them know that their 90 days start counting once they have the signed contract.
Turn to the camera and say that for me.
Your 90 days starts when both parties have signed the contract, vendor and purchaser. So you have to move with speed because you don't want to breach your contract and end up paying extra interest or unnecessary funds.
Right. So, I mean, I told you were going to get gems today. So that was gem 1, gem 2.
Then 2, if it is that you have exceeded the time, you can lose your deposit.
Elaine, say that slowly
you
for me to camera.
Can lose your deposit. Imagine you have been saving for how many years?
And
you end up losing your deposit because guess what? Your information is not on point. And you have not gotten your approval in time.
So hold on now, hold on. Break it down a little for me. Hold on.
Yes.
I'm traumatized. Hold on, Kathleen. Hold on, little. Hold on. So you are telling me after me saving on my ICF for home for save my deposit, right? And I get little money and my mother help me and all of these things.
All the little Christmas bonus.
All the little Christmas bonus. So I did not myself and I never buy the shoes. right? I will never buy the rims and the tire and we save all of that money because
and the hair, we never buy the hair. Yes.
I feel so attacked. But anyway, we didn't buy the hair and we never buy all of that, right? And my 10% or my 5%. So let's say we're buying a $30 million apartment, right? You're telling me that I'm going to lose my 1.5 if I don't move fast?
You can lose it.
You
can lose it.
Elaine,
and again, it comes back to your attorney. You have to be on point with your attorney. You have to know what's happening with your transaction so you can be a step ahead at all times.
So you have to choose care with the attorney that you engage.
Beautiful.
You must have an attorney.
You must have an attorney.
Your attorney will ensure
we're getting so excited
that you don't lose.
We're so passionate.
That is the part. Some persons don't want to get an attorney. You must get an attorney.
You must get an attorney.
And again, it comes back to why having an attorney is important because when they read the agreement, they can go through and say, if you don't clear your what's it called, letter of undertaking or your deposit within a particular time, you can lose it. They can extend those times based on the conversation.
Another gem.
Yes.
So what Elaine is explaining is that there would have been dates, very critical dates embedded in your sale agreement, and these dates are guardrails to protect your investment. A very important, well, there are usually like 3 important dates. Date 1, the time within which you need to say to the vendor there's a breach on the property, and we mentioned that previously. So you need to get the surveyor's ID. If you're buying property with a structure on it, if it's vacant land, then chances are there's no breach. There's absolutely no breach unless the person next door encroach on your property. When that's a different one for a different episode. But 7 days for advising the vendor if there's a breach on the property. The other important date here, usually 45 days within which you need to submit a letter of undertaking from VM Building Society. What is a letter of undertaking? What is a letter of undertaking?
That is when you know, yes, I'm getting the loan. VM said yes, you have sent in your application, you have signed all your documents, and they said yes, we have approved your loan, and yes, this is it. That is the letter of undertaking.
Right, so that letter of undertaking is
45 days for that.
VM is saying we undertake to pay you, seller, X amount for purchaser, Mary Jane, to cover the purchase of this property. So that is the most important document. And then the final date, so remember we told you 3 dates. 7 days for the surveyor's ID, 45 days for your letter of undertaking. Most time you hear them say the LU, but I want you to understand when you hear the jargon, right? And the third most important date is the 90 to 120 days to close the sale. If you miss these dates, it can cost you interest. And like what Elaine said, that kind of give me a little headache. It can cause you a deposit, all right? So we don't want any of that. So you need to make sure that you're on top of things, you're ready to go, which is why it's so important to plan for the purchase. So you put yourself in a state where you're mentally, financially, you are ready to move forward when you start.
And again, this is where your realtor will come in to guide you, to prompt you, to let you say, okay, we're ready to go, this is what's happening, this is where you're at. If you don't understand something, even sometimes when you speak with your attorney, you might not be 100%, you know, we are here to clarify some information.
Yeah, we don't mind when you call us. We don't mind when you call us.
We don't mind.
We don't mind.
We're
Just call
excited.
us.
We love it.
Yes.
Love it. Amazing.
We're here for you.
Amazing. Right. So upon approval, the mortgage is then processed through, and this is where the attorneys come in now, what we call stamping of the sale agreement. So the documents get stamped, the assessment is done, the government ensures that the transaction is being done fairly and equitably. We would refer to it as an arm's length transaction. So they would give it their blessing and say, yes, you can go ahead, and then the transfer would start to take place. And then after the title is transferred, you're going to get another call. And what is that call going to be like?
Congratulations!
Oh my goodness. You have now gotten the keys to your apartment at wherever you are buying it. So you're going to collect it, and then, you know, we'll fast forward. So 3 months time, you move in after Elaine and Kathleen give you a lovely package and your welcome gift, and you're so excited, and you're maintaining inside of your house, and you put up accent walls, and inside is beautiful, and you furnish it because you're safe for everything, you know, and you're preparing to make sure that your home is your castle inside your apartment. But I have a question. Suppose you buy the apartment, Elaine, and then you are doing everything in your power to preserve the value of your apartment and the integrity, and you're fixing everything on the inside. What about the things on the outside when you buy the apartment? Because remember, we said now a lot of people buying apartments because they're more available based on what is happening in the market space. What can you do as a purchaser to make sure you preserve the integrity of this major investment that you just did? Because suppose I buy it and I'm doing everything to fix the inside, and the outside is deteriorating. What can I do?
All right, so every property carries what is called a home association or property managers that is in charge of ensuring that your property is kept up to scratch and in good order.
So everything in the apartment running well.
Everything
so
in
the
your
complex
apartment
is
well,
nice.
but the complex is nice, and this is where Victoria Mutual Innovations created a product for these property owners called PropMan. Roll the demo, please.
Ooh. I love it. PropMan. Wow, saw that? Absolutely amazing. So remember when I said at the beginning of the discussion that every single solution you need to get, keep, and acquire more on your road to financial wellness, I wasn't joking. In the group of companies that we have at VM, we have New Kid on the Block, VM Innovations, and they will continually innovate to make sure that we adapt to the times and we change to give you solutions, services, products that help you to preserve your wealth. What you just saw there was an absolutely amazing example of that. So
Game
after
changer.
VM Property Services got you the house, through help with saving at VM Wealth and through the mortgage from VM Building Society, then Elaine is going to show you how you are going to make sure as a new homeowner in a strata, you preserve the wealth, because irrespective of what you do to the inside of your apartment, whatever is happening on the outside can actually erode the value of your investment in a strata.
Yes.
So Elaine, tell us how PropMan helps
All
to
right.
do this.
So PropMan is a full-service digital solution for property and community management. It actually supports property owners, property managers, homeowner associations, and strata management. What you have to do as an individual is to ensure that your complex or your strata has the best structure in place to ensure that your community is well managed. Now, what VM Innovations created was a product or a solution to assist and support these persons to ensure that there is effective operations, management and operations of your system.
Digitally.
Digitally.
Don't miss that.
Most important. And not just only is it digital,
Yes.
but it's a full service. So it's almost like over the years, persons have done a research and they realize that most of the stratas, they complain of having certain inefficiencies in their operations. Not able to track certain records, their data is not up to date, the financials are not in order. If persons have complaints, no record, no log.
Yes.
Nobody knows if it was resolved.
You don't know
There's
who's coming into the complex.
They don't know who is coming into the complex. And we're not saying that everybody does this, but we're saying for the most part, based on the research that was done, this is lacking
Yes.
in the market.
So these are some of the nuances
Yes.
that PropMan will address.
Yes.
So let's summarize quickly. Here it is, you, a new homeowner, having moved into your apartment in a strata, the onus is on you to emphasize the need for proper management of the entire complex, not just your unit. Because, as I said earlier, what is happening on the outside can impact the value of your investment on the inside. And we've all seen it. Even though you really want somewhere to live, you'll drive by sometime and you say, Lord, I don't want to live there, so. Because you look at it and the gate is not manned, it's unkept, it's untidy, the landscaping isn't done, you know, there are holes in the fence, the perimeter is not maintained. You don't want that, right? Because you want to make sure where you live is nice and beautiful and secure. So here's what PropMan will allow you to do. Digitally, you can have your complex adopt this software solution, and it will enable you to do payment of maintenance fees online, payment of cess fees online, keep monthly meetings without having to set up an account for other payment platforms, keep monthly meetings within the PropMan platform, keep digital records of payment, issue automatic alerts for when there's an emergency. It allows you to log visitors to you, so you don't have to call the security at the gate if you have one. You know, sometimes you're not at home, you're not going to be there. You can arrange for someone to come if you give them your keys, etc., and they can get access to the property because you would have registered this with the security personnel. You can issue notices. Wouldn't you want to know if the pool is going to be booked for a birthday party, or the rooftop is going to be used, or the gazebo, so you're aware, so you can structure your lives. Listen, it is absolutely amazing what you can do with PropMan, and we want to encourage you to go to the PropMan website.
Go at propmanweb.com.
PropManweb.com, right? And you can always reach out to Elaine. She is the business development officer, and she wants to help you to protect your investment. We've seen it too often. And outside of protecting the investment for yourself, you want to make sure that you're keeping the other homeowners accountable.
Yes.
The truth is, laws have been passed to protect the integrity and operation of strata corporations. And one of these laws also gives the power to the Strata Corporation, which is managed by the Real Estate Board, to sell properties.
Yes.
sell properties to recover monies for unpaid maintenances, because they understand that unpaid maintenances negatively impacts the other homeowners who might actually be very compliant. So I want you to make sure, if it is you get the mortgage from us and you get to buy an apartment through VMPS, protect your investment, and we would have guided you to make sure that what you are getting into suits your needs, as Elaine said earlier, and Kathleen. If you're buying it with the intention that you're going to migrate and you want to do short-term rentals, you have to let us know upfront so we can say to you, short-term rentals not allowed in this complex.
Yes.
Or if you have a beautiful little Shih Tzu puppy, we can say, guess what, this complex does not allow pets. So you see why you need a realtor? Because we're going to check all of these things for you, go through the bylaws and make sure it's protected. So when I say to you that your VM group is protecting your interests end to end, it's not just words speaking. We actually mean that. So we're looking forward to hearing from you. I want you to call us up, go to our website, look at the properties that we have there, connect with the FSS officers and the credit officers in VM Building Society, and let's get you on the path to building wealth, to creating more wealth. Real estate, real wealth, right? And we're going to protect your investment. If we have some questions, I think we have some questions from our audience, so I'm just going to try and respond to a few of them now. One moment. So question 1, what are some of the discounts that you can get from VM Property Services? I heard I can get a discount on my valuation. Of course you can, your family. So once you are going through VM Building Society, which I know you will be, to get your mortgage, we will offer you a 25% discount on your valuation. So yes, you can actually get that, and we will send your report directly to your loans officer. Question 2 from Ashley. The VM Property Services team are available worldwide. Oh, I'm sorry. She said island-wide, but I read worldwide. Literally.
Worldwide.
Yes, we do. So we go island-wide. We're not based in Kingston. We travel the entire length and breadth of Jamaica to find your property that suits you. And yes, we are worldwide. So whilst we're not licensed to sell property internationally, as yet, and I like that, speaking to me, what we do is we actually engage persons who are all over the world. And you know, everywhere you go, you have a Jamaican, you have a flag, right? If you go under the sea, you're going to see a Jamaican with a flag there. So we will actually find you wherever you are. We've actually sold houses for persons who have never come to Jamaica. We've sold properties, written mortgages for persons who have never been here. And we try to connect with persons, especially our overseas markets, persons in the diaspora. And we do that either directly or through our representative offices. So we have representative offices in the UK, and we have in Florida, and we have in the US. We are looking at re-engaging other markets. We had one previously in Canada, but you can always reach out to the US team and we will get it done for you. So yes, we are island-wide and semi-worldwide. Okay, so we have another comment. It's called educating the public more about home ownership and the process more regularly. Most persons in Jamaica are poor, so you want us to help with that. Agreed, which is why education is key, which is why we actually do these kind of sessions free of cost. We don't charge for the knowledge, and this is a continuing thing, Brenda. So every month we have Financial Fridayz, and as I said earlier, the previous episodes are actually available. One of the key tenets that differentiate VM Group from any other financial institution is our emphasis on education. So that is what differentiates us. We believe it is our duty as an organization to educate you and give you the guidance that you will need. It's not going to happen overnight, and you have to help us to help you, right? So we will give you the knowledge, we'll give you the guidance, and we'll continue to do so. So we're here.
And they can call us every day.
And you can call us.
Because we have people in the office, the agents, so we answer all your questions.
Accessible via phones.
Always accessible. Everything. You can reach us. Probably the only thing you can't get us on is 2 tins. take even smoke signal, but you can reach us. WhatsApp, IG, Facebook, Twitter,
Anything.
everything,
Yes.
right? And you can always come to our offices. We have 16 branches island-wide, so you can actually walk into any VMBS branch and connect with VM Property Services, VM Wealth, VM Pensions, anything at all. Another question. What's the turnaround time for purchasing a property from start to finish? So we had explained this earlier, let me repeat. So it depends, one, on the type of property that you are purchasing, and how you're financing the property. So if it is you're going to be using cash, which most persons don't, usually you can close within 45 to 60 days, you know, barring any unusual circumstances, breaches, etc. Things like if the title for the property is readily available, that can impact it. So there are many iterations to what the time frame could be. If you're purchasing a property that is a new development, let's say a developer such as Gore, Wiccan, Chemtech, which VM also provides mortgages for all the time. We know these are our partners. You can actually get a approval now. Let's say you get an approval in October or November 2022, and you don't move in and the sale is not completed until next year this time. It depends on when they break ground, right? So the time frame is fluid
Important.
and it depends on the type of property. But on average, plain vanilla, purchasing a house or an apartment that is already existing, it can take you 90 to 120 days, which is 3 to 4 months. All right, next question. We have a lot of questions. I love it. I feel you're connecting with me. Thank you. All right, next question from Nika. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon, Nika.
Afternoon, Nika.
I would like to ask if VMBS covers insurance for buying a property. Also, what happens if you die? You're not going to die yet, right? Does insurance cover it, or do co-signers continue the payment? All right, so lots of questions, Nika. So let me take it in parts. What does VMBS cover insurance for buying a property? So when you're buying real estate, there are 3 kinds of insurance that are usually included. Life insurance on the borrower's life, and that's called GMPI, but you don't have to worry about the acronym. So yes, life insurance is included on there. And that we give you up to a certain coverage amount, and then based on your needs, if you want to cover the entire mortgage portion, then that can also be built in. Then we also have insurance on the property, so that is peril insurance. And that insurance protects you against any perils, you know, acts of gods, flood, fire, hurricane, things like that. So yes, you get that. And I keep emphasizing how you get everything here. You get the insurance through our affiliate company, BCIC, right? It's a British Caribbean insurance company. And yes, before you ask, Nico, you're going to get a discount because we're keeping it in the family. So you will get the insurance from there. So the next part of your question, what will happen if you die? There's so many questions coming in. I make sure I'm looking at the right one. Right, so what happens if you die? Does insurance cover it, or the co-signers continue to pay? So, God forbid you pass off before the mortgage is finished. What will happen is that the life insurance that you took out, the amount of coverage that you had, that will be applied to the mortgage. So let's say you took a $30 million mortgage to buy the Strata, right? And you took out an insurance for $20 million. $20 million will go towards the mortgage principal. If it is that there's less than 20 million remaining, then it means the mortgage will be closed off. If there's more than 20 million, then the remaining portion, the surviving mortgagors, if you had bought it with someone, they would be responsible for paying the balance of it. So it's always good to try and get insurance to cover the full amount of the mortgage as well, particularly if it is that you want to make sure that your estate goes without any financial cost to the persons you so intended to go for. And I would normally say to persons, especially if you have elderly parents that you know rely on you, or you have children, dependents, whatever the case may be, you want to make sure that you give them a gift that is not going to be taxing for them. So yes, we can work through a myriad of solutions for your life insurance needs. So I hope I answered that question for you, Nico. So we have a question from Peter Gay Campbell. If one is buying into a new development, pre-construction, how long will it take for the closing costs to be required? Excellent question, Peter Gay. So, at the beginning, there are some closing costs that you need to have right away, upfront. So, buying a property using a mortgage, you need to have 3 sets of closing costs. Let me just go through them quickly for you. The costs related to the prepayment, so the things that you have to pay VM upfront for, so the processing fees, very minimal processing fees, the insurances, etc. That will be required at the onset. The second set of costs also required at the onset are those related to the mortgage closing costs, so processing the mortgage. So you will be required to put that in a savings account at a VMBS branch, and we're going to hold it. The third set of costs, which is the purchaser's half cost, these are paid to your attorney. You really don't need to have these at the point of processing the mortgage if you're buying into a development, because these monies are going to be called for towards the end of the transaction where the title is going to be transferred. So depending on the period for completion of the complex or the development, and when the title is going to be submitted for transfer, that's when you will need to have that amount. Which is why it's so crucial, and we say to you, have the discussion early, open your ISA for home, benefit from higher interest rates, and start to accumulate the funds there over time. So when you really identify the property that Kathleen and Elaine finds for you, we just move in full speed ahead. So I hope I answered your question fulsomely, Peter Gay. Next question from Beverly Whiteley. What if the other party that is slow in completing the documents required, do we still lose your deposit? No. So the risk of losing the deposit is if you fail to do something on your part.
Sure.
So once you are doing what you need to do, Beverly, then you're protected and your attorney will make sure that you're safe here. And I think our final question coming from YouTube from Jackie is, what if I'm in the USA and I want to buy a piece of the rock? Can the team help me remotely? Yes!
That's what we
heard earlier. We can help you do every single thing.
Yes.
Listen, we have days when Kathleen travels to property and she video calling you because you can't look at it, and we do these things. So if a video tour is not available for the property, we will drive there and we're going to video call you, and we're going to send you tons of pictures, and we're going to process everything, and you're going to have to say stop, and we're going to assign you the loans officer, and we're going to just make sure that you get your property. You don't even have to come here till you get in your keys, Jackie. All right. I love the questions. Thank you so much. I see that our audience was engaged.
Yes,
ladies, you were absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
This is what experience gets you. This is what partnering with the VM group gets you. A one-stop shop where literally all your questions are answered, all your transactions are handled with the utmost integrity. That is so important. You don't have to worry. We will be celebrating 144 years come next month. It's going to be your birthday. We're already in celebration mood, and we want to say to you the strength of this institution that to get you to where you need to go. Seasoned professionals who love what they do, who offer the guidance. Make sure you reach out to your VM group team, whether it's your realtor, your wealth advisor, your financial officer, the building society, you know, everybody. We want to hear from you. Connect to us. Go to our website, vmpsrealestate.com. Visit the VM group website, myvmgroup.com. Reach out to us. You can call us at VM Property Services on 876-929-2283. Go to our website, learn about PropMan. It's not too late. If you bought a Strata and you don't like how things are going, we can get you back on the right path to make sure that you protect your investment. www.propmanweb.com. Elaine is waiting to hear from you. Kathleen is waiting to hear from you. We have many other agents behind. This was one of my most exciting Financial Fridays, and I feel positive. And I'm hoping in a few months, someone out there in Cyberland is going to say to me, Allison, I started the journey because of that Financial Friday, because of what Elaine said and what Kathleen said. So it was our absolute pleasure.
Absolutely.
On behalf of my beautiful co-hosts, Elaine and Kathleen, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Financial Fridayz. We're here for you. We're going to get you on the path to financial wellness. Thank you for making it the VM Group. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.